Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this debate on the last day, I believe, of debate in this House. May I begin by congratulating colleagues on my side, particularly the member for Superior, for the very comprehensive and detailed response to this budget statement, and to all my colleagues who from various sectoral areas presented their responses and spoke on behalf of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, many of whom have found it necessary to journey to Port of Spain, to come in the burning hot sun or in the rain to express their view. This has been a remarkable 4 days, Madam Speaker, where we have had in our chamber 40 speakers, and we have had thousands of speakers on the pavement giving their budget statement. Whether it is casino workers, maxi-taxi drivers and operators, other workers, fishermen, and so on, they came outside to present their parliamentary budget response. And we must applaud the democracy. And instead of intimidating and harassing and telling people not to be used by ABC, we must applaud citizens that they can come to the parliament and express their criticism, their discontent with the administration of the day. Madam Speaker, I would indicate up front that it is my intention to deal with two areas, really, two thematic areas. One would be to analyze government expenditure policy in response to a government that for 2 years have carried a mantra, have carried a slogan, have carried a theme that there is no money, that we are pressed for cash. The last speaker, for a few minutes, dealt with matters of finance. And the last speaker again told us the impact of the fall on revenues to the economy and the nature of the challenge that the government faces. And that has been a thematic for 2 years, that the government is facing this crisis. We don't have money. We have to do more with less. We want another catchline is value for money. I want to deal with that issue because it relates to expenditure policy. The other matter that affects us all is the matter of crime and criminality. I would like to share some thoughts on that as well. Because, Madam Speaker, it matters not if you don't have water, if you are dead. You don't need a hospital bed if you are dead. You do not need social services, a food card and so on, if you are dead. And since this administration has been in place, we have had over 1,000 citizens of this country murdered. To date, we have had more murders per day than days in the year. We estimate that we will pass by far Lara's record, and we will go on to 500 by the end of this year. And that is what we face. It is the most burning challenge. While that is happening, our Minister of National Security from Point Fortin has declared war on crime. He has declared war on crime. The leader of North Korea declared war on the United States. The Venezuelan leader may declare such. He has declared war. Just before he boarded the stage to dance on that boat, he declared war on crime. Mr. Minister, as the member for Caroni Central indicated, you should really deal with the murder rate first before a declaration of war. Madam Speaker, I will deal with the matter of crime and so on. But just a couple points to make on the last speaker. Madam Speaker, I found it interesting that the last speaker said we are not about busing Mark. We're not about that. This is after 2 years of hearing about ghost workers at the Attorney General's office, where they said it went to the police and these ghost workers have been reported. To this day, nothing. It is not that they are not busing Mark, it is that they have no mark to bus. They have none. They have none. What will they say? Nothing. And in the context where they have nothing to report, precious little or nothing, they have nothing to report. The minister from San Fernando has not built one single house in 2 years. They took away the food cards. They have nothing to report in any sector. Madam Speaker, they are stripping They are stripping this economy. It is like an obscene striptease act. Piece by piece, they are destroying the economy and destroying the society. They have nothing to report. And they have no mark to bust. Because in their first year, they spoke high and dry about all type of activities under the former administration. You know, the only matter that is in court to our knowledge, because it is a matter in the civil court, a matter involving HDC. Madam Speaker, after 2 years, the government cannot file the requisite materials in the court, statements. They cannot after 2 years. They cannot. But every time you see them, you see, Madam Speaker, this is the government of threats. The member for Port of Spain West and Tans West, who appears more angry than anybody else, is the minister of threat. You threaten everybody in the society. The banker leader, we threaten him. We threaten the people at the Chamber of Commerce. The Wednesday before the budget, they went to the Hyatt to tell us that we're poor. A lady stood up there, made a statement. The minister made a disparaging remark. When they caught him out, he said, no, I didn't mean all of you to insult you. No, it was just this lady Mala. Now, poor Mala came there and faced that from the minister. The prime minister says to shut up. When he's pressed on how could you say that, he said, no, I didn't tell everybody nothing. It was just the opposition I'm referring to. This is their modus operandi. It is one of threatening people. And I have been fortunate or unfortunate to be really the major recipient of their threats. Yeah. Madam Speaker, if you go to 10 people in the national community and you ask them who is the PNM after, 11 people will tell them the member for Oropouche. If you ask 10, 11 people will tell you that. But Madam Speaker, a lion don't cower, don't hide. Then you lose the element, the definitional element of a lion. They believe that I will be frightened and intimidated and harassed and cower and I would stay quiet. But I know they are out to get me. That is why I am out to get you. That's why I'm out to get you. And I will continue. This morning, before I rose, Madam Speaker, I want to tell you, Madam Speaker, I just read my oath again. And the line to uphold the Constitution and the law and will conscientiously and impartially discharge the responsibilities to the people. I read this just before I spoke today, because I want to dwell on that as well. Madam Speaker, the last speaker raised a matter concerning Naparima. When Naparima spoke of Iraq and Syria, the ISIS is called the Islamic State for Iraq and Syria. It is both in one. So to say, we talk about Iraq and not Syria is neither here nor there. Nation states today don't exist like that before. They are transnational issues and international diplomatic challenges that transcend boundaries. Naparima understands that. He understands that. Madam Speaker, the member for San Fernando East again, spoke about the challenges of the economy, employers, and how much we spend it. Every minister talk about how much the last administration spent. Today I want to talk about how much they spend. Because, Madam Speaker, let me remind the national community, this occasion is not for the UNC to account for its performance. It is for the government to appoint for its performance. Not the UNC. It is for you. We are counted in September 2015. That's why we're here. We are counted, and we are here. You have to account. It is not us. So don't shift it to talk about the NGC dividend and the money spent. They accuse us of spending money, but public finance involves spending money. You must spend money properly. And this is why, when we speak so strongly, it is because we are convinced that we have done no wrong. Process has been followed. I never went all over the world and meet bankers and promise deal and tell them, I'm going to become a minister soon. I rest assured we will do some business. I'm coming back to that. I'm coming back to that, Madam Speaker. So we are strong and we are brave. Madam Speaker, the sandals matter. I just want to deal with that quickly. The sandals matter. Now, the member for Tobago West is not here now, but to let the member for Tobago West know, Madam Speaker, that nobody on this side is saying that we don't need sandals or we don't need resort tourism and family resorts and so on in Tobago. Tobago needs that. We all know that. Maybe Trinidad needs that too in Mayaro and elsewhere. Right, of course. But that is not the issue. We are concerned with process. We are concerned with procurement. We are concerned with transparency. That is what we are concerned with, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, for 2 years, this government has put a lot of emphasis on a twin pillar for development, for their diversification. Well, first, they are committed to diversification within the energy sector. And they are also committed, they claim, to tourism. And they have hedged that, they spoke so much about that. You know what is remarkable? After 2 years, they don't even have a piece of napkin signed by Sandals with a deal, right, with an arrangement. Not one piece of document, because this is a paperless government. They make deals without paper. The Prime Minister goes to Houston, comes back to announce, I represented you well. We had a nice deal cut there, and thank God I went. We have a supply of gas to follow. We said, who you went with? Nobody. What you have in writing? Nothing. So when we form the government soon, and we want to fully implement his wonderful work, who we need to talk to? Somebody in Houston we don't know? What to go when we go there? What to say? A gentleman from Diego Martin West was here. What will you agree to? Tell us. We want to implement.
There's a problem, Houston.
Public management involves notes, minutes, papers, reports. They talk about the gas line from Venezuela, the flight of Venezuela. We saw somebody in a conga line in Venezuela with Maduro. When we ask, what do you have in writing? Oh, we don't have anything yet. We're coming close. We're coming close. We're coming close. Everything will happen soon. All we have is a picture of a conga line from Venezuela. Nothing we have. When we raise the issues, they say we're unpatriotic, we don't love Trinidad and Tobago. That's what their response is, you know. In Sandals, I will just put quickly on the table, Madam Speaker. Sandals have indicated to the government, is it true or not, that they, while they may have an interest, they will not fund that project. That project is expected to be 400 million to 500 million US dollars, almost 4 billion TT dollars. Where is the 4 billion TT dollars coming from? They tell us we are following the Hyatt model. Well, this is actually the Hyatt model. We are in the Hyatt model. But the Hyatt model is taxpayers pay, and every single year we pay $256 million on loan arrangements for Hyatt Ryson Road, Tower 1, Tower 2. It is done under UDICOT. Those of us in the UDICOT over the years know. The Hyatt model is taxpayers pay.
17 years.
So is Tobago Sandals the Hyatt model? Where are you going to find $4 to $5 billion from? Because Sandals is telling you, we will fly the flag, but we don't have that money. You find the money.
Yeah, pay us for management.
Madam Speaker, what are the favorable concessions, the tax concessions? What are the financial package and the tax breaks offered? What is the land deal? Are there foreign labor arrangements involved to bring in foreign labor? So people in Tobago who think they're getting jobs or certain categories of jobs, think again. What are the environmental considerations? What are the investment concessions packages that you are going to give? These are simple questions we ask. If you are and you know one problem with this government, the member for Caronese, he bought 98,000 laptops in 5 years. Anybody know that? 98,000 laptops. No iota of corruption and sin. They try to rent 2 boats, they can't do it without bubble. To get 2 boats, they can't do that without bubble. You know it had 4 probes for 2 boats? They can't do it without some cooking up, some corruption, some bubble. And tell us up front about Sandals before you create a situation where we need 20 probe into Sandals. Who has the land been transferred? If it has been transferred, to which company? Who is the chairman of that company? Who are the directors if the land has been transferred? We ask you, are there considerations for an expansion of the airport in Tobago? If that airport is to be expanded or a new airport built, on whose lands? Will you do that? What is the infrastructure cost? Do you all know that, even know that by now? And Madam Speaker, is that project to be funded outside of the constitutional THA budget allocation?
Yes.
These are important questions you must confront now, otherwise you will have to put 20 probe in place after. Do it up front and level with the population. We are not saying no to sandals. And the final point on sandals I raise. What is it about you? There's established procurement processes in ministries, Central Tenders Board. You have not implemented procurement legislation yet. So you have CTB and so on. But did you open an invitation, did you send out an invitation in the Caribbean, in the hemisphere, in whatever forum, and invite hotels and resort centers around the world to say, please send us your package, give us your package, your proposals for a resort and family beach resort in Tobago? Did you do that? Did you ask Spice Island, Royalton Luxury Resort, what is some Cap, Maison, Four Seasons. In San Fernando East, there's a resort, Villa something. The member is familiar with that. Did you inquire from them if they're interested in putting a proposal for Tobago? Did you? Some villa thing in San Fernando. But did you ask for proposals? No. It is on record that the principal of Sandals came to Trinidad years ago, met someone who he didn't know was the opposition leader, and they started to talk. And somebody say, no, Sandals in Tobago is a good idea. Let's do it. You cannot do that. You can't do that. To say it in local terms, you can't do that. Public expenditure requires public process, transparency. Go out and do the thing properly. You get a resort, you have a shortlist, you put a team together and you select. The member from Moruga now disturbing, but he will find his way by himself, Madam Speaker. Yes, Madam Speaker. I heard him speak, Madam Speaker, from Moruga Table, and I took some notes to respond to Moruga Table, and he left. Madam Speaker, when he was talking, the sign language man could not understand. There's a man right here on the screen. Couldn't understand what he was saying. He made some statements about history and Moruga and the road. You know, they had sod turned in for the roads in Moruga in his office. They turned the sod in his office. But when he come back, I don't like talking behind people's back. Madam Speaker, I want to get to another key matter. Everybody, the mantra, we don't have money, how we could do this without money, we have to cut and paste, we have to do this. Madam Speaker, look, I can't display nothing, but I can hold in my hand, close to my chest. I cannot brandish nothing, and this is I put a clear page, Madam Speaker. This is information from NLCB, National Lotteries Control Board, multi-billion-dollar enterprise, came to us because people believe that if you come to us with information, we can articulate in the parliament and elsewhere and call people to account. NLCB, and I want to raise some matters about expenditure policy there because the Attorney General and others said, we don't have money. The Minister for Finance came in this house and told us he was going to do a report on NLCB chairman. We haven't heard anything yet because a whistleblower will come to us. But Madam Speaker, there is now a sickening development taking place in this society. Madam Speaker, we all know of the trouble with the port. We all know that. Madam Speaker, would you believe that on that matter, Madam Speaker, a witness came before the JSC and made certain statements about a minister of government. That witness was fired at 12 midnight by email. Madam Speaker, fired at 12 midnight by email. A dismissal letter from the Port Authority. Madam Speaker, whatever are the issues there, and I'll come to it briefly, there's a serious matter here, and it concerns an assault on this parliament. An assault not unlike 1990. An assault. That was a physical, violent assault. This is an assault on a governance, the major governance structure of our democracy. And when you throw down the democracy and these structures, it leads to the violence. It leads to violence. Imagine, under our Constitution, Madam Speaker, and this is why I had to pull the Constitution this morning. It is said, Madam Speaker, 55(4) of our Constitution, Madam Speaker, a person called to give any evidence before either House or any committee shall enjoy the same privileges and immunities as a member of either House. This is our Constitution. someone came and gave evidence. The chairman, acting on your behalf or on behalf of the parliament as chairman with the authority, invited the witness and said, tell us the truth, and only the truth. We need you to be upfront and transparent and honest. The lady came and did that. 2 weeks later, fired 12 midnight. When you look at the letter now, they say, well, look, you take vacation and we didn't know you're going on vacation. You didn't take the vacation, we send you on and so on. That's fine. Relevant other, there's this, your said refusal to proceed on vacation and various issues which the board had with you. But the one that interests me, the recent information from PricewaterhouseCoopers, a letter dated, Madam Speaker, 9th October 2017, the dismissal letter. The recent information from PricewaterhouseCoopers forensic searches. Madam Speaker, the minister in charge of everything told a post-cabinet press conference, 21st September, and I quote the minister, I think is member from Police North St. Anne's West. Minister in the Ministry of Attorney General Legal Affairs yesterday said the ministry has already begun to conduct a forensic audit, forensic investigation and examinations at the Port Authority. This involved computer equipment, laptop, phones, and so on. What ministry, when we ask, how can a ministry seize devices from a statutory body, an entity such as the Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago? The Ministry of Housing has in its building the HDC. This Minister of Housing cannot go to Mr. Newman and tell him surrender all your computer and your phones and so on. We're doing
Madam Speaker,
an analysis.
Standing Order 48.1, there is no relevance.
Member, I'll give you a little leeway. Please tie what you're saying to the budget presentation.
Madam Speaker, I will tie it because in the presentation of the member for Mr. Portersville North, his presentation on the 16th of the 10th dealt with this matter. And I would just like to respond. The member for Portersville North said, and I quote, "It is strike law that an employer who owns the equipment of an employee is entitled to take the equipment of the employee and to look through the equipment of the employee." He said this. I respond. The Ministry of Works and Transport or the Ministry of the Attorney General is not the employer of Charmaine Lewis. The Port Authority is. It is a statutory body, and the ministry is not an employer. And this letter suggests that PricewaterhouseCoopers is acting as the FBI.
That's right.
Doing forensic analysis. When that phone, and I will end with this, there's a dangerous issue here. When that phone and computer goes to PricewaterhouseCoopers, do you know they have all the secret, private, and confidential matters of the Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago? And a so-called independent agency paid by the government. The government pays PricewaterhouseCoopers, correct? Yeah. Who paid them? Not the opposition, the government. They now have every sensitive material of the port in their possession. Yes, and they are paid, and they are doing forensic analysis. They are not the police. In the police, you have a chain of command. You have a property keeper. You have persons authorized in law to interrogate phones. Not in PricewaterhouseCoopers. They have now undermined. The Port Authority has its own police. Why didn't you ask them, trained men and women, to undertake an analysis? This reeks of corruption. This reeks of a massive cover-up. It reeks of political interference, victimization, and the undermining of the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. Madam Speaker, I move on, because I know they are troubled by this matter if I continue. Madam Speaker, they have no money, because let's get the money, M-O-N-E-Y. They have no money. M-O-N-E-Y. At CPEP, we learned that they gave almost $3 million to a consultant, Mr. Rolf Balgobin, to undertake a reorganization of CPEP. At the end of it, he was reorganized. He left all the state boards. He left. CPEP squandering $3 million on that. NLCB, Madam Speaker, I want to get to that quickly. NLCB is told, as the rest of the national community, to tighten their belt. Tighten their belt. and they have to cut expenses and so on. Madam Speaker, we are seeing a total mismanagement of a leading financial organization in this country. The report suggests that they have squandered money as if they never see money. They have spent and overspent on trips abroad, Madam Speaker, lavish travels to China, Italy, Las Vegas, Magdalena, Tobago, expenditure on awards ceremony. The Minister of Finance stopped one trip. That's what they're muttering. The Minister stopped the travel of NLCB. I asked the Minister of Finance, did they return the money? Just confirm that money given to officials of NLCB were returned to NLCB when the Minister of Finance actually did clip their wings. They were off to China, off to Japan, and the Minister clipped their wings. Whether they returned the money, that's the issue. They had awards ceremony, Madam Speaker, and I will come to it. Retreats at the Hyatt, cricket excursions, invoices to friends and family. Unbelievable how they spend money. Let's look at the money. At Hilton, NLCB staff on awards function. They took vouchers from Massey store. You know the total amount of these vouchers, Madam Speaker, which they paid was almost $100,000. $80,000 plus additional expenses of $23,000 paid to Massey. This voucher for employees at a time when they claim they have no money. Madam Speaker, 10 members of staff received Staff Long Service Award, $108,000. They bought Johnny Walker Black from A.S. Bryden as gifts for board members, $40,000. And yesterday, the Minister of Health, poor fella, I saw a newspaper report, Madam Speaker, Minister of Health complaining of the too expensive for a screw. That's what he was complaining about yesterday. A screw for $3.50. They're buying in the regional authority for $1,200. He went online on Amazon and see the screw for $3.50. He complaining that the screw too expensive, and at NLCB, $40,000 on Johnny Walker Black. That is where we reach, Madam Speaker. He wanted a cheaper screw and couldn't get it. And complain about that while NLCB is squandering this type of money. Madam Speaker, decoration for Hilton for their function, $106,000. $60,000 sound system. Here this one. The entire bill for their awards ceremony was in excess of $800,000 at NLCB. Complaining about this titanium screw. Madam Speaker, the children's party in excess of $250,000. They are farming out management services and so on to companies. $400,000. That is what they are spending, Madam Speaker. Is that tightening the belt at NLCB? Is that, Madam Speaker, what the government is talking about? So when you ask us where to get the money, that is where you get the money. Madam Speaker, I go to another piece of package. NLCB board members, Madam Speaker, friends and family. They had a grand fiesta, the CPL cricket. You know the expenditure for this cricket excursion for members when you add up all the cost? $687,000. NLCB. Madam Speaker, this is unbelievable. I have the full list here of Prosecco and Johnny Walker and some of these things I don't know, Madam Speaker. The type of thing. I don't have a, Madam Speaker, where I come from, we don't have this. Madam Speaker, they have the full list here. It is just a copy of that. A director came from Tobago, we welcome him to Trinidad. He went to the cricket, the taxi fare is $1,000 alone to go down to the Brian Lara. You all could have given him a lift in one of all your Benz and Porsche and whatever you all drive. Could have given them a little lift, you know. $1,000 for taxi to go Brian Lara. And the Ford Mustang, or whatever that is. Madam Speaker, this is bad expenditure. It is a waste of money. They had a 2-day retreat at Hyatt, I told you about that. You know, the pens and the pencil, stationery, cost $18,000. Paperclip, pen and pencil, $18,000 at the retreat. Look, I have here all the bills for me. What's happening under their watch? Trinidad and Tobago Supply Chain Solutions is the company they're using for Hyatt. I have it here. Bad expenditure, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I raised a matter with the Minister of, Finance. I told him they have a chairman there Is the chairman related to any member of the cabinet? That's the first issue. Huh? Is the chairman related to any member of cabinet? I don't know. Maybe they'll clarify that. NLCB chairman. Do you know this member claimed to receive threats, but admitted in a letter to NLCB signed by the chairman, I did not report this to the police. I spoke to a few board members. They tell me to get private security. We have been the taxpayer paying, Madam Speaker, in excess per month of $10,000 for personal bodyguard service for the chairman, people patrolling by his house, and some other patrol did. Oh no, they're doing bug sweep in his office. The special branch is there. If any member of government, senior member of course, believes that somebody's spying on them, there's a unit in the police you can call to do a sweep and so on. That's normal. This is done independently. So the taxpayer pays $10,000 a month. This is what you call value for money.
That's John Seller.
Yeah, that's it, man. Madam Speaker, they have an outstanding bill there. They have an outstanding report, Madam Speaker. Outstanding bad debts owed to NLCB. $25 million in bad debts owed to the NLCB from agents. It will be interesting to look at the list of agents to see who they are, where they are. I don't have time for that. I don't have time today, Madam Speaker. Not today. Not today. Madam Speaker,
Another day.
I come to another important point because I want to get on to crime badly. You see, Madam Speaker, when we speak on this matter, they accuse us. You know, when we talk about corruption, they accuse us of corruption. When we talk about theft, they accuse us of being thief. Thank God we don't talk about rape, Madam Speaker. So they accuse us of the crimes that we raise for accountability. The Prime Minister went in the airport and he knew, the Prime Minister said he knew that the member for Oropouche East will be in court. You know that? Yeah. Went on Piccadilly Square. You know what people were in their bedroom? But didn't know the Minister of Public Utilities wasn't a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, was a citizen of another country. Didn't know that one. But know that. And
he could cost.
And Madam Speaker, as I heard that at the side, there is a disturbing, Madam Speaker, to me, I want to say, there is a disturbing and almost pathological obsession by the head of the government with the female anatomy and female attire. It is a pathological obsession. Madam Speaker.
Member for Oropouche, I'd ask you to withdraw that and say it in another way, please.
I think I withdraw that. I will say it another way then. There's an obsession with attacking females. I can say that.
Madam Speaker.
Okay, Madam Speaker, I withdraw it. Let's move. Madam Speaker, to deal with crime, Madam Speaker, to deal with crime requires a certain approach. It requires a strong approach. It requires a law enforcement community, Madam Speaker, that is clean. And we have to deal with corruption there. A recent report, Madam Speaker, I must say, there was a report in the newspaper yesterday on the editorial page, I think page 7 of the Newsday. Elizabeth Solomon wrote on a Latin America report on corruption, the barometer of corruption by Transparency International. And in the hemisphere and in the Caribbean, it is well reported that persons do not have confidence in elected representatives and in the police in dealing with corruption. We know that. And this is why we must work to deal with corruption. But dealing with corruption is not Movelang and old talk. You know, it's not talking about a mall in Holland, which you can't find in 2 years. You know, it's not talking about house. Only people on this side have house, it looks like. It is not talking about that. It is putting institutions in place, governance institutions, strengthening them, and allowing them to do their job. Allowing them to do their job, to call to account persons. It is persons who themselves, their hands are clean. I heard the Prime Minister say the Minister of Works and Transport went to the port and he's trying to clean up corruption. That is like giving a cat a tin opener. What do you expect to do with that? Madam Speaker, I withdraw that. I withdraw that. Madam Speaker, I'm saying that one must build a police service, build a public service where institutions respond to allegations. Madam Speaker, people like us, members of the community, give us information. Members of the public give us information. They come to us because they believe we can articulate matters. They are voiceless. In some cases, they are invisible. They give us information. And Madam Speaker, some troubling information has come to me of allegations involving high public officials. Public officials who themselves are in sensitive positions, and information that public officials are involved themselves in wrongdoing, allegations. One such matter, Madam Speaker, came to me, and my advice to persons coming to me with that is one thing. I am not police. I don't investigate nothing. I have nothing to do with that. Anyone comes to me as an opposition member, I invite them to please go to the police and report. Because that is the right and correct thing to do. We don't investigate. We can raise matters and so on, but we have no power beyond that. And so I have advised people over the last 2 years who come to my office. I say, please go to the police station and report, because you have some allegation, and that's what it is. It is an allegation. It is not true. So you cannot hold someone who is in public service to account or make them out as if they're guilty of something unless it goes through a process. Not what members opposite do, like jumping up and saying how much who thief and who do this and who do that. Madam Speaker, one such allegations involve public officials, and I have come across materials which suggest that there are transcripts, text message transcripts between officials and between someone, not one person, no? And not one official, other officials as well, suggesting that high public officials are involved, Madam Speaker, in certain criminal wrongdoings, matters involving opposition MPs, matters involving a very sensitive matter. One matter came to me, Madam Speaker, and a chill ran up my spine because it spoke to a conspiracy to plant recording devices in the office of an opposition member of parliament. And when I asked for some material to substantiate that, Madam Speaker, I got something in which a public official is replying to the person to say, I'll be away for a few days. I'm waiting on you. I have to be at an important event tomorrow. We will do the rest next week. Thanks to you. I appreciate your reach out. Madam Speaker, and what troubled me is when a public official is saying, I am at your convenience, just let me know what you need and when, and I'll be ready to assist you. Be comfortable and prepared. Meet me after 6 at the office. Then, great, remember we're in a new building. You can meet me in the new building in the basement. Madam Speaker. Yeah.
Member, could you tie this to the budget, please? Thank you.
Madam Speaker, when the member for Point Fortin spoke on dealing with crime, and the Attorney General and the member for Port of Spain North St. Anne's West, they spoke about dealing with corruption within government and within the law enforcement community. They did. All I am saying to the members today is that the threat is real. The threat is real because if it is that members of persons in high public office, something like this could be happening, Madam Speaker, where someone is reporting to us in the opposition that they are engaged with public officials in a conspiracy to wiretap an office of an opposition leader. It is serious, Madam Speaker. President of the United States was impeached on Watergate. President Nixon lost his job on this matter. And in this, Madam Speaker, I will not read every single thing now because I want to move on. In this matter before me, a public official is saying, I am sending recording devices, SIM cards. What else do you need? And I have a go-between, and the name of the go-between is here. I can't call the name because I can't do that. The name and number of the go-between is here. He's on his way to meet you. I have confidence in him. You can trust him. I have them, and you will get them. Sorting out the SIMs now. Will do. Madam Speaker, all of this would have meant nothing if I had this alone. Would have meant nothing. This means nothing really in the scheme of things because you don't know the actual offense. And it continues, I'll not read everything, 28 pages of text. But Madam Speaker, it is my information that a report has been made to the police to investigate this matter and investigate one or more high public officials for a conspiracy to wiretap, to plant recording devices, and to break in the office of Opposition Member of Parliament, Attorney at Law, Senator Gerard Ramdeen. Madam Speaker, I don't have the name of the public officials, I have the number. I have the number. I can tell you the number. If you want, you can ring it. You can ring it. The number is 683-6442. That's the number on the document. I have never tried this number. I don't know if it's the number of anyone in the House or outside. Madam Speaker, you all can dial it. It may vibrate in the House. Madam Speaker, this is a serious matter. The police is in the...
6. What does this relate to in the budget, given somebody's telephone number?
Foolishness.
Member, I'd ask you to move on.
Madam Speaker, in moving on, could I indicate that it is my information that the draft of this transcript of text messages has been placed on the social media by someone. And anybody want to read can go there and read it. Madam Speaker, let me move on now. Another matter that troubles me, Madam Speaker, is some time ago I asked a question in Parliament. And that question related to a statement the Attorney General made that he had received legal advice on a matter. And when I asked him the question in Parliament, the question, Madam Speaker, was allowed properly. And the Attorney General got up and made an interesting comment. He said, yes, we got advice. I said, how much did you pay for it? He said, no, it was free. And the Prime Minister asked, what's wrong with that? The Prime Minister believes that he's running a parlor selling condensed milk, sweetie, and chubby. Madam Speaker, in government, you cannot allow a situation where people are giving you free service. What is that? They appointed a one-man investigator into the port. They asked him, the reference is there, August 15, 2017, a letter from the Prime Minister. You tell him, please give us a report on the procurement of the Ocean Flower 2 and the Cabo Star. You know he wrote a report on Galicia? That's like if you ask him to tell us about KFC, and he tell you about Royal Castle. That is what happened there. Madam Speaker, you know what? I want to say I want my money back from the sole investigator. The taxpayer want their money back, but we didn't pay. There is no legal contract. There is no binding arrangement. There is no proper terms of reference.
Consideration.
No consideration, Madam Speaker. If a citizen is affected by that report and sue the sole commissioner, Madam Speaker, they can sue him for that, for what he did. There is no arrangement with the government properly. You have to pay for a service. Even if you pay a less money, the person does it for you a little, smaller fee. You have to pay. Mr. Mute did a report. We have no contract with him. We have no arrangement with him properly. So that we don't know if he breached any contract. This thing is wrong. That you meet people, they are your friends, you're in government. Could you imagine I'm Minister of Housing and something happened in the housing sector? I call up a friend and say, partner, come. We have some help, people making trouble here. Investigate this for me. You cannot do that. You have to properly recruit, properly secure, properly pay someone with the requisite skills to do a job. That's how it's done in public business. And the matter is not ending there. Madam Speaker, there's an issue down at Petrotrin, as if Petrotrin has not had enough bacchanal by themselves. Madam Speaker, there is an issue in Petrotrin. And Madam Speaker, the issue in Petrotrin revolves around consultants at Petrotrin, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, consultants at Petrotrin. Madam Speaker, I've just been told that the information I give was seen by someone at TT Expose, Facebook, /TT Expose. Madam Speaker, at Petrotrin, they hire consultants. Well, they don't hire consultants. We are told, based on a report in a management meeting by their manager of exploration, Madam Speaker, that they are taking people on board to provide services, consultancy services. And when the managers at point appear in the note I have before me, asks, they are told that the consultants are free. They're doing service for free. One of the consultants is related to a government minister. Now, nothing wrong with that on the surface. The person is probably well-skilled and so on. But do you work for free? and there are implications of this free work in the state sector. First, we are told that it may be free for the individual, but for a company linked to him, they get $1 million a year for that work.
Honourable Member for Oropouche East, your original speaking time is now spent. You're entitled to 10 more minutes if you wish to avail yourself. Please proceed.
Humbly, ma'am, I will. Madam Speaker, the Petrotrin report tells us, and this is a minute of a meeting held on Wednesday, 12 October 2016. Madam Speaker, the managers are concerned about confidentiality agreements signed by consultants. They are concerned, Madam Speaker, with recruitment. How did they asking the company's senior management, how did you recruit consultants? Was it by open tender? Did you invite persons to submit an application and assess applications? They did that at UTT as well. Right. They're asking, how is the vice president and others, do they not have confidence in us? How can we trust people with confidential information? And you know what is one bit of the confidential information? Information that if it got into the hands of lease operators can be to the detriment of Petrotrin. So, so-called free consultants coming in at Petrotrin, getting sensitive information on exploration that can be used by lease operators. Who is a lease operator? Huh? That is the contractors who outside in Catskill and wherever, Madam Speaker. And seismic information is also being made available to persons who have no contract, who have no recruitment policy, Madam Speaker, with Petrotrin. And this is a danger. We saw this trend developing with the government, where they invite people. They say, come, help us, we have a problem here. And no proper recruitment, no procurement policy followed, no proper contract in place, no payment based upon skill or expertise. And Madam Speaker, that leads me to the point that this came from. We were told, Madam Speaker, I didn't have the misfortune of listening to the meeting at Piccadilly Corner. But of course, what is it called? It's Piggott? Piggott, at Piggott Corner. Sorry, is that Piggott Corner? I didn't have the misfortune of hearing it, but I got a report, of course. I saw the newspaper. And the Prime Minister said something very interesting. In attacking the member for Siparia, on the matter raised in this budget debate, might I remind you, Madam Speaker, the matter of TGU. The sale of 40% of TGU is a live issue in the Parliament today in this budget debate. Yes, it is a live issue before they stand on 48-1. And Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister said that he went to Germany as opposition leader and met bankers. What did he go there to open a bank account? But you met bankers while being opposition leader. Madam Speaker, when you're opposition leader, you meet protesters. You don't meet bankers. And
Somebody's device is interfering with the system. Somebody's device. Continue, please, Oropouche.
Speaker, it might be 683-6442. Madam Speaker, as opposition leader, went to Germany, met a banker, and had chat with this banker and assured them that I am opposition leader of Trinidad and Tobago, and pretty soon I might be Prime Minister. Madam Speaker, the opposition leader was the then opposition leader soliciting deals as opposition leader before becoming Prime Minister?
Madam Speaker,
was he doing that?
Order 48-6. Madam Speaker, Standing Order 48-6.
And member, I'd ask you to withdraw that, say it in another. Yes.
Madam Speaker, I was never aware, having spent 10 years in opposition, that an opposition leader properly could be involved in banking and financial arrangements prior to entering government. I was not aware of that. And Madam Speaker, when that banker name called is also linked to Ferrostal and the TGU sell of 40%, it is a dangerous set of dots that the population must connect. Because it happened with Sandals. Sandals was conceptualized prior to 2015. And I'll come to the golf course just now, but it is a dangerous thing when a leader of the opposition then seemed to be involved in some matters not properly under the ambit of a leader of the opposition. and then indicates to the nation that the genesis of certain arrangements were in opposition. What did you promise? What was promised to you? These are questions that arise. Did somebody promise you something? Did you promise somebody something? You cannot do that, and it speaks, Madam Speaker, regrettably I must say, it also speaks to a certain level of misbehavior in public office, which somebody else. Madam Speaker, this matter the opposition leader raised with great care and concern. I suspect we will be hearing more about this matter as the days and hours go by. Ferrostal. Madam Speaker, Ferrostal came to my attention as a university student when I was studying Point Lisas. And one Professor Ken Julian was at ISCOT, Madam Speaker. And do you know at ISCOT, Madam Speaker, they were losing $1 million a day.
That's right.
And there was a deal involving German companies and Ferrostal. And today it comes back full circle. But Madam Speaker, as in the few minutes I have left, Madam Speaker, I want to assure the national community that their time is limited, as the opposition leader, political leader said. They have reached Wednesday in the political cycle. When you blink, you're on Friday. And they will soon discover that the time is ending and they have to account to the population. And accounting to the population is not saying about 2010 and 2015. I heard the member for Port of Spain South the other night reciting all the ills of the administration of the PNM, because claiming that we said that when we were in government and so on. And the member for Port of Spain South, I couldn't stay too long to hear her, but I understand she made a brief presentation, because the member had to account, I think, for 2 days as a minister. So it didn't take much time. But Madam Speaker, when we raise matters like these, it is not for the government, because I know what they'll do. They will stand up after I'm finished and say, look who talking, and corruption and mismanagement and EMBDC and this and that. That's what they will do, accuse us when we stand to raise matters of governance, accountability and transparency to you, Madam Speaker. That is what they will do. Madam Speaker, if I said it once, last year I raised a matter, a sensitive matter as well. I want to remind the national community, when I raised that matter, the Prime Minister got up and attacked me. The member for Port of Spain North got up and was brutal, attacking me last year when I raised a sensitive matter. The mouse that roared from San Fernando East also put his 2 cents in, Madam Speaker, last year. This year I raised sensitive matters. I expect that they will treat me the same way. But I want to indicate, Madam Speaker, that the lion do not hide, don't cower. You don't hide. So I am prepared. Madam Speaker, it is only warriors that carry scars. Cowards don't carry scars. So cowards don't have scars, it's only warriors. So we are afraid of no one on this side, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to ask the government in the closing time to look at their spending. Madam Speaker, the member for Port of Spain North is misbehaving. Madam Speaker, in the closing moments I want to ask the Prime Minister again. Last year, when we raised an issue with the money for the Prime Minister house in Tobago, they said it's $500,000. 500,000, no more. That's for what? Pre-something, pre-feasibility study. Do you know in the current budget, Madam Speaker, I have the document before me here. In the current budget, they have put $5 million for a residence for the Prime Minister. You telling people you don't have money, $5 million for a residence for the Prime Minister, $3 million for a golf course, and let me tell Diego Martin Central, one time, it is not that nobody don't like golf. Is one of the biggest, fastest growing game in the world. Children playing golf now. Biggest, fastest growing. Our vision was that the private sector would involve in golf, not the taxpayer. Taxpayers don't involve themselves in spending $3 million for a golf course. That is, the private sector must do that. Give them some benefit to open a restaurant and a bar and facilities and entertainment. They will manage the golf course. Not the taxpayer.